You know, no EDC or urban fixed blade knife review is complete without cutting cardboard. Today, let's make cutting cardboard interesting. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Feral Woodcraft. My name is Joe. As most of you probably know, thank you for stopping by today. I have a knife review, a knife to show off today. I don't think that there has been any knife come across or come through my channel that people haven't been asking more about. This one's greatly anticipated. I've been promising it for a while. I've actually already filmed this once and I just wasn't happy with the way it came out. So here we are to do a redo. The knife in question today, it is the JX6 Companion, made by Bark River Knives and designed by Chris Tanner from Prepared Mind 101. That probably looks extremely familiar to a lot of you guys. It is pretty similar to the JX4 Bush Bat, also made by Bark River Knives. And it is also very similar to the LT Wright Jesmic. So all three of those knives are the brainchildren of Chris Tanner from Prepared Mind 101. Now as you can see, this knife has picked up a nice little patina going on here. I use this knife every day of my life. It has been my fixed blade EDC since the day I picked it up. And that right there might be an indication of where this video is going, at least as far as my opinion. But before I spill the beans and state the obvious, let's go ahead and run down the specs really quick so you guys are more informed about this knife, familiar with its size, how it will fit in your hand, stuff like that. Then we'll talk about how I've been using it and the opinions that I have formed based off of those experiences. For the specs here, we have the overall length of 7.5 inches. The blade length itself is 3.675 inches. The cutting edge is 3.125 inches. It is made out of A2 tool steel with a Rockwell hardness of 58 to 60. The thickness of the blade is 0.125. The weight is 4.125 ounces. It is a full tang that is exposed. It does come with a very nice contoured handle, if I don't say so myself. And it does have a leather belt sheath included. The leather belt sheath is the standard Bark River sheath that you guys are used to seeing. It does come with a magnet to aid with retention, and it does work very well for that. Well folks, with the specifications out of the way, let's talk about my experiences with it a little bit. First off, I do want to talk about this sheath right here real quick. This is the standard Bark River sheath. As I mentioned in the specs, it does have a magnet for retention in here. It does fit on the belt, which is obvious. I haven't put it on the belt. I've used this mainly for pocket carry. I do want to give a shout out to Gary from C2G Fab. He has come up with an excellent sheath system for this. I will pan away to some in-use shots of it here real quick, but get a close-up of that. Nice clean lines, excellent retention. I mean, that is not coming out of there absolutely no way, no how. One thing I really like about it is this clip right here. It sits right down into your pocket. It is nice and secure. It is not coming out. You don't have to use two hands to get it out of there. You can just pull up on it and it'll pop right out. I absolutely love this sheath. This is how I've been carrying it for the last week and a half or 2 weeks since I got this sheath from Gary. The context for my project today, I really wanted to take this hunting with me and hopefully, you know, bag a deer or something and show it harvesting game, but unfortunately due to circumstances outside of my control, we really didn't get a hunting season this year. But anyway, so what we are doing is I figured I would hit this up from more of an EDC or urban type standpoint. So kind of going back to hunting and processing game and stuff like that, I thought I'd hit up making an improvised food dehydrator. It's a project that we all can do at home. I wanted to use common household items that we all likely have in our house. The premise behind this dehydrator here, just taking a cardboard box that I had handy at the house, some duct tape, some old window screen. I'm going to use tea candles for a little bit of heat. And as you will see at some point during this video, I'm taking a fan out of an old power supply and rigging it up to run off of a USB power pack. As is becoming tradition, I would like to go ahead and talk about the negatives first, and then we can spend the majority of the video concentrating on the positives. So with that being said, I only have one negative. The cutout here for the lanyard hole in the micarta. Now it may just be because I have bigger hands than normal, but if I'm using alternative grips backwards or kind of choking up on it like a side grip like that, the corners right, let's get that in frame. The corners right there dig into the palm of my hand. And it's just painful. I mean, there's no permanent damage. It doesn't blister up or anything like that. It's just uncomfortable. Aside from that, I have absolutely nothing negative to say about this knife. I absolutely love it. Oh wait, I'm supposed to wait till the end to say that. As I mentioned, the name of this knife is the JX6 Companion. The Companion works well for a name because it's exactly what it is intended to be and exactly the function that it serves. It is a companion to a bigger knife or a bigger tool like an axe or something like that. I would not be at all ashamed to hit the woods with this knife and an axe. I would be able to get done pretty much anything I need to do in the woods within reason with just this knife and an axe. Now, would I prefer to have a bigger knife to go along with this? Yes, I would, but the fact remains that you could do it with just an axe and this knife. It's A2 tool steel, so I mean it's very strong. It's going to keep a decent edge. It does have some amount of corrosion resistance to it, which I have made that statement before, and people are freaking. Says A2 is not stainless steel. I'm not saying it's stainless steel. I'm just saying it doesn't rust like 1095 or 01 or something like that. It takes a bit more abuse to the elements before it's going to start corroding. Let's hit up the grind real quick. This is different from the Jesmic and the JX4 Bushbat in that it is a convex grind, but it is a saber height convex grind, whereas the JX4 is a Scandi height convex grind, and the Jesmic itself is a Scandi grind. This one is a saber height convex, which means while it retains all the goodness of that convex grind, it's strong, it has great edge retention, it works great for carving, but because it's a higher grind height, it's thinner down here, which makes it a very slicey knife, which is what makes it very good for game processing. It is also very good at whittling. You can take a lot of material off at once, and it takes a little bit of getting used to, a little bit more fine control, but you can control it and be very efficient at whittling and removing small amounts of material, controlled amounts of material at a time. I really dig this clip point mixed with the sweep of this belly. It just works fantastic for getting down there and doing the finer work, doing precise work. If you're whittling or cutting it on cardboard like we are today, it just works spectacular. It does have a sharp 90-degree spine back here. While we're talking about the spine, let's go ahead and talk about the geometry, because that is what makes this knife. It has the same handle as the Jesmic, but just slimmed down. It is a little bit different up here towards the forefinger, but you know, overall it is basically the same handle. As you can see, the sweep in the spine mimics the sweep in the belly. Mix that with the fact that it is the centerline tip and the way the handle fits in your hand, the geometry is perfect. It is absolutely spectacular for pretty much any position you want to hold the knife in your hand and work with. The one that I have favored beyond just the standard handhold is the side grip like this. Just the way it fits in your hand if you're doing like a scooping motion and a sideways grip like this. If you're doing some fine carving or fine work there, it works extremely well and is also extremely comfortable. And the blade and handle geometry keeps it center line of my hand, but also keeps it a perfect spot for my thumb to ramp up on right there, just to provide a little bit of extra pressure and a little bit extra of control. And as you can see in making this food dehydrator, it absolutely chews through cardboard and keeps a really good edge, but it also doesn't shy away from cutting wires or stripping wires, cutting tape, cutting window screen, like I'm doing here to keep bugs off the meat in this dehydrator. And so we've hit up the EDC, or the more urban type survival aspect of this knife, but it is also good in the woods as well. I mean, it does feather stick. I have made bow drill sets with it successfully, I might add. If you guys have seen the teaser video I made about a month ago, you've seen that happen there. Probably paste over some of that video here. It is an excellent camp chore knife for, you know, making tent stakes or pot stands, or carving out, you know, a pot lid remover out of just a stray stick, or carving out marshmallow roasters for my kids. It is just an overall a very handy knife.
It's been about 12 hours. That's what we got. Let's go ahead and put some window screen on top. It's still pretty flexible. I'd say we are most of the way there. I'll leave this for the rest of the night and see what we've got in the morning.
Alrighty, well, it's time to check on our meat. It's been about 28 hours, give or take a little bit, and probably about 14 tea candles later. I haven't actually had a tea candle going in this thing the entire time. I didn't want to have a tea candle going when I wasn't around to keep an eye on it. I didn't want to burn my house down, so for probably half the amount of time this has been going, it has just been the fan working at dehydrating this meat. So this would have happened a lot faster if I'd had a steady source of heat, but fortunately I couldn't be around the entire time. Let's have a look-see here. Again, like I said, it's about 28 hours. Pull this off. Nice and stiff. Nice and stiff. That is perfectly dehydrated. Very good. Gonna make some nice stews out of that. And I will say I've made improvised dehydrators before, but always out of plywood and stuff, which works a lot better than this. But like I said, I wanted to try to hit a project up that everyone could relate to and everybody could do with just some few common stuff that they could find around their house. Like I said, this has taken over my fixed blade EDC hands down. This is most likely the best EDC fixed blade I have ever used, and it is most certainly in the top 5 blades to come out in 2016. This is an absolutely spectacular knife. And with a price point starting at about $130 depending on the scale material, that is a pretty affordable price for a Bark River knife or a high-end knife. Anyway, gang, thank you very much for being here today. I do appreciate it very much. I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and mash that thumbs up button for me if you would. Also, if you're not a subscriber and would like to become so, make use of the subscribe button right down below. And as always, gang, hit up that comment section. Let's talk about this knife, any other knife you'd like to talk about. And if you have a question about this knife that I did not answer here, ask me there and I'll do my best to answer it. Anyway, thanks again for being here, and I will see you next time. Hope you guys have a great day.